Alright. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So let's start now with next verse, text number 7. Here, the principle of chanting, how one should chant the holy name of Lord, that has explained. The nature of holy name, our problem, and how to come over our problem, that has explained in this particular verse, where Srila Rupa Goswami very nicely he says, Syat Krishna Nama Charitadisitapya Vidya Pittoptarasanasya Narochikanu Kintva Adrad Anudinam Khalu Shaiva Jushta Swadvi Kramad Bhavati Tadagadamulahantre. Translation by His Divine Grace. The holy name, character, pastimes, and the activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like a sugar candy. See, that is the nature of the holy name of Lord. His pastimes, his name, it's sweet like a sugar candy. But our problem is, although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. Pittopta tapta rasanasya na rochikanu. Pittopta, because of this jaundice, you can't taste. And jaundice of what? Avidya. Kintu, but the treatment also has given. It says that it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So this disease get cured just by taking that same medicine. In the purport, Prabhupada says, the holy name of Lord Krishna, his quality, pastimes, and so forth are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet, like a sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. And this science, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a diseased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with a jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. So that's the nature, of our material disease and material consciousness. Anything related with the God, we never appreciate. And we can see the people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, they are more interested into materialistic things because that is avidya, that ignorance that pulls them towards the. And mostly people who are highly educated. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jadavidya jata mayara vaibhava jivera panaya katha. This Jadavidya, the knowledge about the material world, that makes the living entity a donkey. And it is Maya Vaibhava. This is nothing but the flowery stage of ignorance. And because of that, what happens? This avidya, this ignorance, perverts the ability of relishing the transcendently palatable name, quality, form, and pastimes of Krishna. But Prabhupada says, despite this disease, if one with a great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastime, his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of a spiritual health is possible only by regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So this is what we need to understand. While chanting, we need to understand this. This is the principle of chanting. Because the wonderful example has given here. Chanting of the holy name and disease like a jaundice. So the holy name of the Lord, his pastimes, they are same as Lord. They are Satchit Ananda. Even though it tastes like a sugar, but we don't have that taste because we got this disease of jaundice. And when someone is get infected with this disease, then he lose the sense of taste. Not he loses, but rather than tasting a sweet, he tasted bitter. And what's the root of this disease? It's on individual level also, and it's on the social level also. On the individual level, when we cultivate more of material knowledge, that pushes us towards the sense gratification. That's the one cause. And second thing, when we are being with the people who are materially motivated, then that both things, unitedly and individual level, that brings us to this particular disease of nescience, ignorance, which is considered as a jaundice. And because of that, we lose taste in hearing about the Lord. And most important thing is that we forget their lordship, When a man in the material world takes more interest in materialistic way of a life than Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be in a diseased condition. The normal condition is not remain an eternal servant of the Lord. Normal condition of a living entity is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord. Jivera Swarupahai Krishnera Nityadas. This healthy condition is lost when living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external feature of Krishna's Maya energy. This world of Maya is called Durashraya, which means false or a bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durashraya becomes a candidate of hoping against hope. And although their material attempts are baffled in every way due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistake. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of the struggle for existence in material world. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. See, that's our problem, On an individual level, when we take shelter of ignorance, then we start seeing all the faults in everything. We start to see fault in the Lord, His devotees, His creation. Everywhere we see just fault only. And not only that, we also make mistake, but we don't look it as a mistake because we have done that. And Prabhupada says, we try to rectify our one mistake by making another mistake. And that's the struggle for existence here. And on the another level, we follow them who are atheists. They may be a politicians, they may be a philosopher, they may be a scientist. And we just keep following them. And problem is, what problem then we face? As Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Namam dushkritno muda prapadyante naradama. Mayaya avarata jnana asurim bhavashrita. These four kinds of people. In which category we come actually? If you don't take Krishna consciousness, then you need to be one among these categories. Either Dushkritina, Mudha, Naradhama, or the people whose knowledge is stolen by the modes of ignorance. So we need to be careful, while thinking about this. And if we come under these categories, we are not able to take shelter of their lordship. It's such a kind of a people. Neither they take themselves Krishna consciousness, nor they help others to take Krishna consciousness. Then what we have to do? We need to get cured from this disease. Then how? The process is same, that we need to chant. And how to chant? Prabhupada says, very carefully and with attention. When you do it very carefully, then by hearing the sweet and transcendental holy name of the Lord, Shunvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanat Hridayanto Vastu Abhadrani Vidunoti Sata. Whatever anarthas are there in the heart, they get cleansed away. Cheto Darpanamarjanam Mahadavagni. It's the one which cleanses the mirror of our mind. And then gradually we will start tasting this wonderful sweetness of their Lord, sweetness of the name of the Lord. So when we chant, there are three different levels of chanting. One is aparadhyukta, with offenses. Like in the neophyte stage, when one gets initiated, or even before getting initiated also, when we chant with the 10 offenses. And when we try to avoid those offenses, then we can elevate ourselves to the next level. And that level is namabhas. So it is the stage between the neophyte stage of chanting and the pure stage of chanting. And the next is Shuddhavastha, or the pure stage. where one gets rid of tatha rajas tamo bhava kamalobha. One gets free from the modes of material nature and kama, lobha, and moha. One gets rid of this. Then that pure name awakens in your heart. Then where we can chant? In the association of devotees. There's a nice, there's one devotee from a Dasa Sampradaya of Madhvacharya Sampradaya. So in this Dasa Sampradaya, there was one Das, his name was Jagannath Das. He wrote very nice song actually. There he says, when there he explains the glories of chanting the holy name. If someone's lie down and he chants the holy name of Lord, or when one chants while lying down the holy name of Lord, then Lord comes and he sit next to his pillow, and he hears that holy name what chanted by that devotee. Someone, when he sits and chant, then what happens? Lord comes in front of him and he stands to hear that holy name of the Lord. And then next he says, then when I chant the holy name of Lord while dancing, their Lordship comes and he gives hug. So that's the glory of chanting the holy name. That's why Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Khaiva, Shuiva, at all these stages, one can chant the holy name of Lord. And that really helps one. Because when you come in association of devotees like this, who chanting is so powerful that Lord he himself comes and likes to hear his own holy name or his own pastimes from the mouth of those devotees. And Prabhupada, with that intention, he established this ISKCON society where people can come together and hear about the Lord. They can glorify the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. They can chant the holy name of the Lord. And everything starts with the Shraddha. If you have a little faith and you get the association of devotee, then that faith turns into Nishtha, then Asakti, then Ruchi, then Bhava. So the main function of establishing this ISKCON is to create that platform where devotee can come together and sing the glory of the Lord. And this knowledge about Krishna is so wonderful. Even the people who are staying in the remote part of the world, if they also hear about this knowledge, when they hear about this holy name of the Lord, they get attracted. And we have seen that when we go for a Sankirtan, and when you on the road while performing Kirtan, most of the people who don't know anything about Krishna consciousness, they also keep following you, Why? Because that's the glory of chanting the holy name in the association of devotees. That becomes more attractive. When the devotees they chant, then what happens? Even Lord gets attracted to that holy name. Then what to speak of the ordinary human being? And if someone becomes nishthavan with a fixed determination, fixed faith, then he gets initiated. And after that, what happens? Bhajana Kriya. And with that Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So our Bhajana Kriya that Prabhupada set for us, chanting minimum 16 round of the holy names of the Lord. And when we chant 16 round, then there what happens? Anartha nivritti. Then we become serious and sincere, and then this we start following this four regulative principle. Not only a illicit sex, but they give up the whole sex life even. They give up gambling, then one give up. See, gambling is just not the gambling of money, gambling of our mind, intelligence. The gambling of intellectual level means tarkavad, following so many isms, capitalism, communism, philanthropies, this and that. All those things are like a intellectual gambling. One has to give that up. But once someone who takes up Krishna consciousness, someone who start chanting, then automatically those things goes away. You don't have to put more uh, emphasis on that or more endeavor for that. You need to put more endeavor on the chanting, and when you start chanting, automatically there's anarthas that goes away. So anartha nivritti and then nishtha. When someone gets rid of all these anarthas, then nishtha increases in his heart, and that makes him fixed up in Krishna consciousness. And when you get rid of this disease, then what happens? Then ruchi, asakti, and bhava. Then you really develop taste in the holy name of the Lord. You get attached to that, and then there is a bhava, and that level of bhava where if someone outwardly seems to be working in the material world, but he never forgets Krishna. That's the bhava stage. And that's what Lord Krishna desires from us. When Arjuna wanted to give up everything, Lord says no. Tasmad mam anusmara yuddhacha. Remember me and fight. Because we have a swabhavaja. There are some gunas that comes swabhava, your own bhava from your birth. You can't give that up unless and until you give up this body. You need to dovetail that for the service of Krishna. And when that happens, then you come to that bhava stage. In bhava stage, you can use all your abilities for the service of Krishna without forgetting him. And when one attains that particular level, why he never gets touched by the material world? Because Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. Lord Krishna is like a dazzling sun. Wherever there is a sun, there is no darkness. So, same way, when we come in the association of devotees and start chanting the holy name of Lord, then that takes us up where we get really freed from all this anartha. And constantly we can think about Krishna. So this particular verse gives us a principle of chanting. Why we have to chant? What is the nature of the chanting? What is nature of us? And what is our problem for chanting the holy name of Lord? And what will be or what is the remedy for that? That has nicely explained in this verse. So, do you have any question or any comment? We can discuss about that now. Yes.
So, Prabhuji, so offenseless chanting, I mean, how do we do that?
I'm also trying, working on that. Prabhupada says, keep your mind in between your ear and mouth. So if you keep that mind in clearly pronouncing the name of the Lord and hearing that, that itself will take care of everything else. You don't have to think about other things. You just keep your mind in between your mouth and ear. That's why Prabhupada says, carefully and attentively. Carefully you have to chant and attentively you have to chant. If you do that, the rest of the things will be taken care of. By our own endeavor, we can't stop other things. But if we pray, that's why this Panchatattva mantra has given. Before chanting, if you want to prepare yourself, then we should offer pranams to the Vaishnavas. Once mind is trained up in that way, then other things are taken care. There is a nice book called Harinam Chintamani. And there's one more book. There's a compilation of Prabhupada's quotes on chanting the holy name of Lord. So before chanting, if you read one para of that, then that will help you to chant attentively. And then the aparadas will be gone. And that's why it said that it's better to chant in the association of devotees. Because if you are in the association of pure devotees, it helps us. But there is another question then, where to find pure devotees? So you can chant the mantra machine of Prabhupada, keep it ready next to you and chant. You are in association with the Prabhupada. Most important thing that Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam tataiva bhajamya. He is reciprocally respondent. The way you want to approach him, that same way he reciprocates with you. If you are attentive and careful, he takes care of other things then. Oh, someone is really attentive to hear about me or to chant my name. Then Lord says, Matta smriti ganam apohanam. From me comes the remembrance and knowledge and everything. He gives that by seeing your endeavor. So you need to put your endeavor. Then that offenseless chanting happens. Pray to their lordship. Generally, what I do, I chant before one round, I chant one prayer of Shikshashtakam. Because that puts your mind into the frame. Like the first verse will say, what is the effect of chanting? If I need to get that effect, then I should be attentive while chanting. That has helped me for last 3 decades. So that minimizes your offensive tendency. And if you keep reading Prabhupada books or scriptures every day, that keeps up your mind. So that makes you to avoid committing offenses. Yes, Mishra Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
For last more than 40
devotees.
years, you are chanting the holy name of Lord. So you can guide us.
One quick question.
No, I need your suggestion.
Suggestion about?
Chanting. You are doing it for last more than my age.
We should look to what Srila Prabhupada says about chanting. People say that I cannot focus my mind, and Srila Prabhupada says, keep on chanting. And then gradually you will come to the stage of focusing. So keep on chanting, even though it is imperfect, keep on chanting. Now, regarding your question of whether we should chant alone or chant in associate with devotees. So if you are able to find the devotees or pure devotees, that is great. If you are not able to associate with the devotees, then as you said, you are chanting in association with Srila Prabhupada. And that is the way to understand. But basic thing is chanting. Basic thing is chanting. Why? This Mahamantra comes directly from Golok. It has ascended just like Om, Omkar mantra, just like Gayatri mantra. So this is a facility given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has made us so easy to chant holy names. Of course, there is a lot of emphasis, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiramita. So there is a lot about chanting. The best part of chanting is, even if you cannot chant properly, even does not matter, because you are making an attempt, you are making an endeavor. Simplest example is given of Valmiki. He couldn't remember the word Ram. Simplest example. So his guru Narad Muni said, okay, what do you remember? So Valmiki said, I remember people dying and saying Mara, Mara. So that became mantra, Mahamantra for Valmiki. Of course, he had to chant 60,000 years to get purification. So chanting is very powerful. Chanting is very powerful. And it is said, even by mistake, if you say one word, Ram or Krishna, and jokingly, I'll say one thing to you. Once there was somebody in New York, and the person said, I cannot chant. So he was questioned, what you cannot chant? He said, I cannot chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then Prabhupada said, you have already chanted.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, before you go, my obeisances to all the attendees, all bhaktas. What slok did you read today? I joined late.
Oh, okay. That's the 7th verse of Nectar of Instruction.
Okay. So it's good to know. I was attending Institute of Bhakti Vedanta Institute in Juhu, Mumbai. So you said today's 7th verse.
Yeah.
Good. So I was listening to a presentation. I forget that gentleman's name, that Bhakta's name. He's currently involved with the institute, with the Bhakti Vedanta Institute in Bombay. Do you remember?